Metadata, that's how we'll start. All right. Hey everybody, I'm Max, here with Andrew and Rick Younger at the Drafthouse Comedy Theater. I'm going to talk to Rick about comedy and starting out and coming from this area.
Yep, that's where I'm from. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Started in D.C. because I was going to University of Maryland College Park.
Okay, cool.
Many years ago. The year was 1992. And
Go Terps.
Yeah, go Terps. Feel the turtle, people. Yeah, so,
Nice.
yeah, and was here for a while. Started to do the road, and then just, you know, you're out there on the road and you realize that if you want to really make an impression, you need to go someplace where people can see you and you can get other opportunities in addition to stand up. So it was like either New York or LA.
Yeah.
I went to New York, closer to home, and because I do other things, New York is like a good fit, you know, theater, because I've done a national tour of Rent and Smokey Joe's Cafe, and you know, there's opportunities for theater and music.
I was wondering about that because the theater world seems so different from the stand-up comedy world, just in terms of attitude.
Yeah,
that must be interesting to like.
It is
go
so
from
very
one to the
interesting. It's like for a while I had a hard time auditioning for musicals because musicals, you know, you're breaking the song, but they're very serious.
Right,
about
yeah.
it.
Nobody's like, hey, why is everybody singing?
And I'm like, I think it's hilarious. So I have to make myself commit to, all right, let's put on a show, you know, and it's like, then so, yeah. It's
but in some ways that probably helps with comedy because sometimes it is about committing. You have to like commit to what you're doing so the audience.
Yeah, I think that like if you watch my act, it's some theatricality to it.
I heard you singing.
Yeah.
And you sing like really well.
Yeah, you know, yeah. It's like, and when I tell the stories about starting out as singing being my main thing, that's, you know, pretty much everything I talk about is straight from my life anyway. And I really was, when I was in college, everybody knew me as the guy who sung, but who was funny.
Now, were you doing stand-up in college, or were you primarily
right before
singing?
I graduated? So I was singing in college. I always would make people laugh. I would entertain people at the dining hall. That's how I got a lot of free lunches. And so I would do like impersonations of people and throw in little bits of things to make people laugh in addition to singing at the dining hall table. And one of my friends was like, he saw Def Jam and he was like, you know, I want to do open mic. And he's like, you should come with me. And I thought he just wanted me to support him. He's like, no, man, you make people laugh. You should get up there. And I was like, I'll do it, but if I bomb, I'll never do it again.
Right, yeah.
And it's like the comedy god smiled down on me that first night because I needed it to be that way.
That's good. Because once you have the one good association, you can take all the bombings.
Trying to go back to that well.
Well, you know, it's like there's something that you have to have when you get up there and try it that makes you come back. Like Jerry Seinfeld talks about how his first time on stage, he just said premises with no punchlines. But it was like, after he did it, it was like, I got to go back.
Right.
I have a friend who was very funny, who started out with me, and the first time he bombed, he never came back. He was like, I don't love it enough to deal with the way I feel when I bomb. And you know, as a comic, we all have those nights.
Oh, yeah.
Majority of the time.
Yeah.
Depends on what jokes you're telling. You might be telling good ones. So,
it's very meta comic, just bombs. It's perfection.
That's my thing. I think it's funny you see a lot of people that do theater are usually like hardcore theater heads, and that's just like all they want to be doing and knocking out. And then you also have stand-up, where usually people that are doing stand-up and are like doing like road gigs and touring are usually like super into that. So do you have a favorite, or are you just like a Renaissance man at performance and you want to sing, dance,
Renaissance man is a great way to describe me. I've even had that as a screen name when I was on Black Planet back in the early 90s.
Oh,
no, but no.
Well, now we know what we're only going to talk about for the rest of this interview.
But no, it's like I always compare it to having 3 kids. You love them all.
Yeah.
But there may be something about each one that
makes
you
them
like
better than the others.
Or or this one's my favorite right now.
Right.
You know, because I'll have times when I'm like, you know what, I really need to get on stage and do some stand-up. Like if I haven't been doing stand-up in a while. Or like, you know what, I really want to focus on going out and auditioning more for theater because I've been doing a lot of TV and film. So it's like I always just, and I sing with, like, I have a band with my cousin and my brother up in Baltimore. We do gigs. So
That's
I'll
awesome.
come down to Baltimore and sing with them. I do a show in New York called the Rick Younger Show where I have my own 6-piece band, and it's kind of like imagine a late night talk show, but
very cool.
the host is so self-absorbed to everything is about him.
Oh,
so,
like a late night talk show.
Right. So it's like I have to sing with the band. It's like I'm not gonna have musical guests, and I can sing with the band.
That's funny.
That's great.
I have a thing called the Ricky Wheel, and on the Ricky Wheel, it's a bunch of different things. You spin it, and whatever it lands on, I have to do. So Rick has to improv a song, Rick has to rap, or we have a thing called Ask Rick, where any question you want to ask me, you can ask me, and that's kind of based on the fact that I do the Today Show with the Guys Tell All.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's another thing. And Renaissance Man, I was looking at like all of your credits and the stuff you've done, and I was like, I'm exhausted looking at this because sometimes just doing comedy, like the majority of the time, is tiring. So I can imagine doing all of those things, and even just going out to auditions.
Yeah, it's like for me, since I've been doing comedy for 25 years, it's like going out every night to do stand up. It's just not going out every night to do stand up is just not something I'm gonna do now at 25 years in. So it's like sometimes I get my fix from going out in the day and auditioning for stuff. You know, it's like, and I've been fortunate recently. I was in a series finale of Girls. I just did Woody Allen's miniseries on Amazon. I was in a film with Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. And so it's like I've been having a lot of good acting gigs where I play opposite the main person. So it's like, you know, but every once in a while, it's like you just got to get up there on stage by yourself doing your thing.
Right. Especially if you're, that's like, it's good to be in that position and then be able to have an outlet where you're like, oh, now it is about me. Like the talk show is such a great idea of just self-focus, because then you're like, I guess I have to talk about myself now.
Yeah. It's like, and the thing I like, the Rick Younger Show was just one of those things where I said to myself, if I had my own show, what would it be? And I was, with the various talents that I have, I definitely wanted something that included sketch and improv and music and, you know, straight up stand up. And so I said to myself, well, why aren't you doing it? What are you waiting on? And I was like, I'll make it a live show. And if, you know, if someone sees it and wants to do something with it, fine. But if not, this will always be my thing that I can go back to. And I just do it periodically. And I
think that that mix of all the different kinds of comedy seems like it's becoming bigger and bigger. And that's like a thing in DC that's been happening is so many rooms that used to just do stand-up now have like kind of weirder different elements. And it's nice to see because it's just, it changes it up from like what you're used to seeing.
Well, I remember early on reading a Hollywood Reporter. It was a comedy special issue. And they said a lot of times when people in the industry see comics, they want to know that you can work with other people. So it's like, it's good to go and maybe join an improv group. You know, I know a lot of times it seems like it's this improv versus stand-up thing. Every once in a while, like a person like myself who does them both, I'm like, I don't know why we're so upset with each other. You know,
why can't we be friends?
Right. It's like everyone wants to act like they know what comedy is. Like if you're getting up there and you're using props, you're not a comic. Or if you're getting up there and you sing, it's like if you have a talent, figure out a way to get that on stage.
Make people laugh.
Right.
And I think that's
and the
that's
audience
the key.
is the ultimate judge. Like when somebody kills with a good audience, you have to acknowledge it happened for a reason.
And I was going to say with a talk show, that format, it's like it seems like it's a good muscle workout for comedy because instead of just doing straightforward stand-up or just a straightforward, how do I make this song entertaining, you're kind of like working and doing all these different aspects of comedy, which once you, I mean, you're doing acting and singing and stand-up and improv. So knowing the punchline, but also knowing which avenue to kind of deliver it, makes you just a sharper performer.
Right, and learning how to be generous as a performer. You know, it's so, you know, that's the other thing as comics, we got to learn that because we're so used to being up there by ourselves. It's like, hey, you're working with someone else, you got to give them a chance to
totally true.
give,
especially when it's like an interview show. And you
So you probably have to also, you probably read when the crowd needs a chance to breathe or when they need a chance to reset. You're like probably a little more in tune with sharing the stage than you are just being up there for you and acting it all out.
And I'm as a stand-up, I guess you could classify me as a storyteller. So you got to take some time to just talk to them and get into the story and don't be afraid of the silence. That's where comedy and music are so similar. They say it's not about always the notes that you play, it's about the space in between the notes. And when you reach that point where you're not afraid of the silence.
Right, and you know how long you can take and what's going to get people back. And I think that's the mark of people with experience, is that they can just do that.
Well, like tonight, I ended my show talking about, as I said, y'all want to talk about my dead father? I mean, I talked about my father, but it was a funny story, and it was like, you know, but being able to talk about those hard topics, you know, it comes with experience, but also just with not being afraid of the silence.
Yeah, and I also think that's what people want out of comedy. In a certain way, they want to take something that is scary or bad or they have a negative association and flip it around. And when you can do that,
fill the void.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's why comedy's therapy. It's taking something scary, something horrifying, or something.
And now
like
the therapy portion.
Right. Yeah. It's like, I can't afford a therapist, so let's get up on this stage. Right?
So wherever you asked you on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, this is a bit we do called Therapist Dracula. Is there stuff that you want to plug or stuff you have coming up?
Really, I came back down because I just, you know, I wanted to get back into my home area. You know, I figured I've been gone long enough that I could actually get some people to come out, and maybe a club would be impressed by that. But it's not a part of a tour, but it is, you know, part of my getting back into the place I started.
Yeah.
You know,
nice.
As far as things to plug, I have something great coming up that I can't talk about because I signed an NDA.
Ooh.
But
the next 50
tell us
Shades
what it
of
rhymes
Grey.
with.
No, that would be
maybe the next Schmerminator movie.
No, not that. But let's just say I have another opportunity where I'm working with a very big name in the comedy industry, and maybe I'll come back on the show when I can talk about it.
Ooh. When should people? How long until people should start frantically Googling
When should they
your
follow
name?
you on Twitter?
How about you should start
or-
now at Rick Younger on
or
Twitter,
should they
Instagram,
wait?
Periscope, Snapchat. I'm at Rick Younger on everything, or Google me. I'm the first 6 pages of Rick Younger on Google. But let's just say that I'm going to be in a show that's going to open here in DC before going to greener pastures.
Well,
Ooh, okay.
excellent.
There's your teaser.
And maybe I'll tell you guys after we get off the air.
Yeah, get on the boards and see if you can guess. Also, we need to set up boards.
Just another code.
Yeah, well, people should follow you on all
You
social
definitely should
media.
follow me so that, yes, at Rick Younger on Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat. I do a morning show on Periscope and Facebook Live. I go in my kitchen and I do what I call the low budget morning show where I cook breakfast and I break into song and I do characters and just talk.
Oh,
and
that's fun.
It's fun, it's uplifting, it can be inspirational or just a good time.
Nice.
So, you know, follow me on those things, especially on Periscope for that. And I have youtube.com/Rick Younger, youtube.com/The Rick Younger Show.
Nice.
So
We'll
those
put a little bug here,
Yeah.
too, to click on.
Yeah.
It'll be right there.
Facebook.com/Rick Younger page, go like that. Yeah, RickYounger.net. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's it.
RickYounger.gov.
.biz.
It's like
Black Planet, definitely.
yeah, it's like Renaissance Man.
Renaissance Man,
after that-
9/4/20.
After that tumbleweed comes through your computer screen, it's 5 guys left on Black Planet. They're hanging out. It's like it's gonna make a comeback.
Don't call
You
it a
said
comeback.
you'd spoken like someone with inside knowledge.
It's like
Nice. Well, yeah, definitely check it out. And then, we'll cut here.